unmute myself. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me quite well that side. My name is Andrew. I'm all the way from Georgia, as mentioned before, and let's talk a little bit about AI and how we can use it to not only add to our work, but increase to the things we can offer our different clients. Because it's very important to remember that yes, it's a new trend that a lot of people seem to be following and such, but it's a new trend that we need to embrace as creatives, or we will be left behind. Simple as that. So one of the important things with AI that you need to keep in mind, especially when you're doing graphics design or digital art like I sometimes do, or even when you work on portraits from a large selection of photos, is that to get AI to be consistent is extremely important. Because yes, you can generate an image, but the problem with AI is that it has a lot of random things. Apologies for the construction sound in the background every now and then. We did have a large building collapse in the George area recently, so it is affecting things slightly. So yes, the biggest thing with AI is especially that you need to be aware that consistency is extremely important and extremely difficult to get. Simply because you can generate an image now, wait 5 minutes, use exactly the same parameters, generate it again, and you will get something completely different. So that's normal because that's the way that the current AI generation models work. But you can get consistency if you use the correct model with the correct prompts. So when you use prompts in AI, that is where you tell it to generate you something special. So as an example, if you use ChatGPT's little image generator thingy, it's fine, not consistent. If you use Midjourney or one of the other very fancy, nice and expensive ones, they do exactly the same thing. They give you really awesome and amazing results, but they're not consistent. And as a creative or as somebody like myself that does a lot of portrait work in studio and out of studio, I want something that is consistent that I can use from one photo to the next one for my entire session. And that's where the key comes in, that you need to use the correct tool for the correct job. So as an example, let's swap over to my screen. I can do that by pressing a button. Shift, no, Control. There we go. Cool. So this is, oh, my screen is reversed. That's fine. It's fine for demonstrative purposes. So this is the AI model from Adobe. This uses the Adobe Firefly. If you have any Adobe subscription, even the smallest one, you get access to this. Now, the reason why this is important is because Adobe, the model that they use specifically allows you to get consistent results. As an example, I have a little car. Now, if I want to change the car to anything else, keep the same style, keep the same formatting, everything else, I literally just change one word. So we're going to change from car to banana. Just like that, just to give you an example. Generate. There you go. Cool. Come on, generate. And once it's done, you'll see that it still retains exactly the same styling, the same mood, the same effects, everything. But all that has changed is just our subject matter, which is important because now you can take this type of generation as an example into your digital art where you want to generate assets to work with or things as such. And this allows you then to not only generate consistent assets, but to have, hey, look, it's a banana. We generated a banana using the same style and formatting and everything else, which is very cool because this now allows us to basically create a consistent body of assets to use in our digital creations or to work with clients and things as such as well. And all we do is just go to Adobe Firefly and we just change whatever we want. And we make sure that what we create, we save it as a template. And then from there, we can basically use it to do all the cool things and stuff. So this is one way that I found to basically get things to be nice and consistent. Keep in mind that Midjourney and other ones can do it as well, but it's extremely time consuming and extremely complex to do the consistency, unfortunately, in those alternatives, simply due to the fact that they were never meant to be precise, consistent tools. They were created to be basically tools that generate random things for you to work with, which is cool because it's a tool that does the job. But I like consistency because the important thing, especially when you work with clients, is you need a consistent result which you can give your clients, because consistency is what basically makes clients hire me, because I can give them consistent results from a session, or I can go from one client, wait 2 weeks to another client and still get the same consistent results, because consistent results means that You show your clients that you know what the hell you're doing, which is very important because clients need to have confidence when they book you, as well as just from a creative standpoint, this means that I can do some really cool things. So I will show you what I did using this specific formula that I like to use for generating my little weird metallic objects and things, because that's the style that I wanted to play around with, especially for AI stuff and to practice consistency. It took a few tries to get it nice and consistent and working perfectly the way it's supposed to work. Because unfortunately, even when you do have everything dialed in and perfect and consistent, there can still be random inconsistencies in your work. So back to my screen. Now, this is the entire gallery that I created, where I basically generated assets using Adobe Firefly, and I kept my assets consistent, and I then pulled them into Photoshop, where I added more generative fill features to basically expand on the content that was received. So as an example, if we go down to this one with the two people sitting next to each other, this was basically two different generated images or portraits from two different subjects using Adobe Firefly in the same style, which I can then blend together nice, easy, and consistently using Photoshop and using generative fill in Photoshop, which is an amazing tool to expand things, add to things, and such as well, which is why I like to use it. So using Adobe Firefly, using the correct prompts, you can get consistent results consistently. You can even take your portraits and make them look exactly the same as well, which is why it is such an awesome and powerful tool. Now keep in mind, it is a tool, and the same applies to every single tool that you use. Is you need to learn your tool, you need to study your tool, you need to know how to get good results using the tools that are available. So will AI replace you? No. Will people using AI replace you? Yes, simply due to the fact that they've taken the time to study and learn how all these different systems and mechanics work, which gives them a advantage over what you're able to do with just your normal camera or normal editing software. So that's why it's important that you practice your consistency, that you make sure that you are able to get consistent results and that you're able to apply those consistent results to your work, to add to the work that you create and add to the features that you offer your clients. Because the last thing you want to do is wait 5, 6, or 10 years before you start to even learn how to use all of these tools. By then, everybody else is ahead of you already. So it's one of those things that even when digital cameras came out, a lot of people were pushing back against digital cameras because they said, "Now this isn't real photography." Yeah, all of those film photographers, they don't do business anymore. Same thing's going to happen with AI. These tools that they provide us allow us to expand our creativity, expand what we can offer clients, all these awesome things. So either you take advantage of these tools, you learn how these tools work, you learn how to implement them into your work, or you're going to be left behind. Unfortunately, that's the way the world's going. Things are evolving, and we need to, as creatives, as artists, as photographers, always evolve with them. And the best way I've found to do this is to just simply pick one, any one of the tools. I like Adobe Firefly because it's for free with my Adobe subscription. And basically just study the tool, learn how to use the tool. And then once I know how to use the tool, I basically then just need to learn how to be consistent. Because having consistent good results, it's nice. Saves you a lot of time. Because as an example, using my little formula that I created for all my weird things, my nice metallic look that I like to use, I can basically generate, edit, export in a few minutes. And remember, when you do a Adobe Firefly generation, it's only 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. So it's tiny. But you can take that same photo into Photoshop, expand it, go on it till you get a 20, 30, 40, 50 megapixel file. I think the largest one I created was 181 megapixels, just for the fun of it. Because yes, you can do that using all these awesome tools. Because not only can you generate awesome images using Adobe Firefly, but even Lightroom has now really cool AI features where it can super resolution your images, meaning you can go from 1,000 by 1,000 pixels to 20,000 by 20,000 or 100,000 by 100,000 pixels, meaning it's just another tool that you can add to it, which is why I like the Adobe ecosystem, if you want to call it that, for all of these different AI features because they now allow you to generate, edit, upscale, and export, and even make huge prints. I think the largest one I've printed was a A1 size or A0, can't remember. It's big. It's on my wall at home. It's awesome. But yes, so that is what I would like you to just give it some thought, select a tool that you like, and then using that tool that you do have access to, basically just make sure that you can use that tool to get nice and consistent results. So let me show you from a client session what consistency looks like when you use Adobe's AI. So for the class, I added a penguin to the bottom of my subject just for the fun of it, because why the hell not? But now here's the important thing. All of these photos, these studio ones, the background in each one of these has been changed and edited using Adobe's Generative Fill, which you can then basically, what I did was I used Adobe Firefly to generate myself a nice, clean, gray backdrop, which I then added onto my photos. And not only adding them on, but I used Generative Fill to make it the masking really nice and awesome. So you can get really awesome, cool results by just using these cool tools. And that's a nice thing about it, because now I can have consistent results in all of my work by simply just using the tool that's available, which is awesome. So yes, consistency. It is not only important in your normal day-to-day work and stuff that you do, but it's also extremely important when you want to work with clients or do cool things like that as well. Because yes, these are really awesome tools. They allow us to do really awesome, fun things. But remember, the tool is only as good as the person that uses it. So learn how to use your toolbox, dudes and ladies, because it will save you a heap load of time, heap load of money, and just make life so much more easier. So yes, that was my bit of a talk. Hope that was insightful and helpful for people as well. Just remember that, as I always like to say to people, your tools are only as good as the people that use them. So you need to take the time, study your tools, use them properly, apply them properly. Don't overdo it, because some people kind of do overdo it, sadly, and it's never a good thing when they do that, where they blur out the background that it looks like you're shooting at like f0.1 on a lens. No, we don't do that. We want to make it look nice and consistent. So yes, I hope you guys found my little bit of information added on quite informative. I hope it was. But if I can stress it, or if I can't stress it enough, that find one that you like, learn how to use it, learn how to apply it to your work. Adobe Firefly is for free to try. So give it a try, see if it works for you. If you have a existing Adobe subscription, you can use Adobe Firefly for free. Doesn't matter if you have a smaller subscription or the largest one available, you can still use it for free. You just log in with your Adobe account. There you go. Nice and easy. So that was me. Hope you guys found that helpful. And then if you guys do have any questions, please pop them in the chat. I believe they've said that the chat would allow you guys to ask some questions if you do have any questions specifically in regards to what I was speaking about. But if you do not have any questions as such, then I believe Yaku or somebody else will take over from me again. Well, that's so the question of ownership is currently in debate, not only by us as an example, but in the Adobe Office and such as well. If you just generate an image and do not alter anything on that image, then technically that is an AI image out and out. You cannot technically resell it, make money from it, etc., because that's against the terms and conditions of many of the AI models. But if you're a digital artist and you use assets which are generated by AI and you disclose that you've done so when you resell the artwork or things as such, then you're fine. So ownership comes down to how much of it do you use. As an example, in my examples that I showed with my metallic look, I still retain ownership of it because the original picture is maybe just literally a headshot of a person. When I expand 200 plus layers upon that to basically build the full image at the end, which means me as a digital creator still created the final product. I just used a small asset, and that small asset doesn't take away my ownership according to terms and conditions of Adobe and Midjourney and all of these other ones as well. So ownership does depend. Now, it's very important though that when you do use an image like this for commercial use, you disclose in your description or your brief to the client that yes, this contains some bits which were edited or added on using AI because it's just ethical. You want them to know that this awesome thing that you've created is from you working with the tools that are available instead of just lying to them saying that, yes, I took this picture of a penguin sitting in the middle of a rainforest. Yeah, that doesn't fly. That's not right. So when it comes to ownership, that yes, when you use assets which are generated in your work, that's normally fine. You still retain your ownership, especially in regards to the way that law works in our country. But if you simply just generate, repost whatever was generated without altering anything, then technically you do not have a commercial license for it. Adobe or Midjourney can retain their commercial license to that work specifically. But if you just use that work in your digital art or photography as an asset, then you're normally fine. So it's a bit of a gray zone at the moment. So they're currently busy working on perfecting the laws and things as such. But as it stands at this moment in time, on the 10th of May 2024 at 12:20 p.m., no, you cannot just generate something and try and sell it. That's illegal. You can use it as an asset, which is not illegal.